Hey everyone, it's LS, and this is the patch 15.16 notes rundown, and we're just going to get right into it. This is the prophesized patch that a lot of people were very excited about on Twitter, and a lot of people were finally relieved at seeing a lot of sizable changes. So first things up is Ranked Season 2 end. So I'm going to Ranked Season 2 2025 will end on the last date of patch 12.16, specifically August 22nd, midnight. And that's it. Similar to Season 2 start, Season 3 will not reset your LP or tier progression, only the ranked reward mission. 15 ranked games 1 will be reset. Okay, so moving on to champions that have finally been changed. Brand. The last nerfs to Brand's ultimate smothered his flames a bit too much. Passive Blaze per tick damage to monsters 240 to 260%. So you're getting 20% more on the Blaze passive, which is quite nice. The issue is that so for solo queue, people would argue that Brand's clear is slow because you need to be doing things a lot faster. Whereas in competitive, he still has excess time. One of the things that people normally don't talk about when it comes to fast clear junglers when, you know, they clear the jungle at 3 minutes and they say they have nothing to do for 30 seconds, is even though they clear way faster and it doesn't seem like there's anything to do, their camps respawn faster, which means that they're able to start doing their cycles a lot quicker. So if you have, for example, a jungler that is able to clear 40 seconds faster than another champion, after a couple of cycles, they're going to be up one entire full clear, and that's a really big deal. And that's the reason that clear speed and stuff like that, even if it's just being changed marginally, is really important to always pay attention. Blaze stun duration is going up by 0.25 seconds. That basically makes it so that if you had tenacity, now it's as if you didn't, is what's going to happen there. Pyroclasm cooldown is also going to go down by a flat 10 seconds. This is nice because it doesn't build ability haste early, but again, it's very luxurious because it's a conditional ultimate. It's not something you actively look to cast as soon as it's up. 10 seconds is kind of fake, but it's still nice. It's, you know, you always pay attention to buffs. Gnar. Gnar has been a little sad fluffball in the top lane. Q, Boomerang Throw Boulder Toss cooldown is going to go from 20 to 10 to 16 to 10 super early on. That is actually quite a big, well, actually, never mind. I guess it's, well, it depends on the matchup, I guess, because rank 3, it's basically negligible. You don't really notice any sort of a difference. So that feels a little bit bad. Depending on what the matchup is and what skill order you're going to end up going, I mean, it's something, but still not really. It's not super great. I mean, your Boomerang's up a little bit more often now inside of lane, but still. Illaoi. Last patch's Illaoi changes landed weaker than we intended. Passive Prophet of the Elder God. Total E ratio. This is going back to, I want to say Season 11 Illaoi. Yeah, I want to say Season 11 or Season 12 Illaoi when she was basically at her strongest. I think this is the 80 ratio that she had back in the day. Itemization, obviously, for her is still a little bit rough, but still very nice changes pretty much all across. Spawn cooldown is also going down by a flat 2 seconds at rank 1. This is kind of nice for her laning phase, and I mean, honestly, mid lane, she did lose some of the tentacle control that she did have once upon a time. With some of the mid laners coming back, like Sylas and Akali and Galio and all these other champions, Illaoi mid becomes a lot more prevalent in gameplay, so always something to pay attention to. She can't really go any other lanes other than top, and obviously top lane doesn't really need an explanation. Jarvan's armor growth is going to go down by 0.6. He's going to lose a very negligible amount of armor. Oh no, it's as if he does not have a Mountain Drake now, pretty much for free. That's basically what he's doing. He's losing Mountain Drake. Cuhlista. Cuhlista has finally fallen off of the pro play radar. Good. Base stats, attack damage growth is going to go by 0.25. So now, at level 5, you will have 1.25 more AD per hit. Send out 10 auto attacks after resistances. You did about 6 more damage. Congratulations. E-Rend initial AP ratio. These are just Baron buffs, and obviously once you complete Guinsu's, it gets a little bit more damage, but whatever. These changes don't do anything for Cuhlista. If you think that you do, that you have no idea how you're reading this. Lulu. Nerf has proven to be extremely resilient Lulu has been proven to be extremely resilient to nerfs. Cooldown 8 seconds to 10 to 8 seconds. So Lulu has different skill orders that she ends up doing depending on matchups, and it's a little bit painful whenever, you know, things like E end up getting hit. This is a really big nerf to mid and top lane Lulu, pretty much across the board. For support Lulu, I think it's going to end up being okay. The base damage also going down again, and the shield getting hit again is also a really big I mean, this is very gutting for support Lulu, and it's also very gutting for top and mid. Now, the thing is that Lulu, as long as she's still with her pairing and she's being picked as a counter pick, still going to be a good champion. Mastery, enabling Kraken Slayer and Terminus synergy. Alpha Strike now stacks Kraken Slayer and Terminus. Check out Cenarius on Twitch and YouTube and whatnot for his thoughts, obviously, on the changes. He's the best Master Yi player in the world. Mordekaiser, Q, obliterate damage, bonus AD ratio, 0 to 120% bonus AD. So, the really crazy thing about this, and I saw some people saying that this isn't a big deal on Twitter. Yes, it is. This is very big. When he Rs and he steals the stats, his Q is just getting steroided. Now, it's a very minor amount, sure, but if he ends up taking you, he gets to keep that amount for the duration of the enemy's death timer, and that's obviously quite nice. The other thing about this is Mordekaiser typically builds 3 HP items. And because he builds 3 HP items, he can now also build Overlord's Bloodmail. He can also potentially build Sterix if the enemy team has a lot of CC. This makes it so he doesn't have to go Merc Treads anymore, and he can do really crazy things with either just Ninja Tab Eyes or Stork Penetration Boots, and he can do really, really, really funny things. And Mordekaiser also has one of the highest AD ratio, or AD per level in the game. I think he's one of the highest in the game. So this is actually really crazy for Mord. I think this is actually a lot bigger than people are thinking, at least for solo queue. For competitive, it's very rare that you get 4 items. Now, is there a world where Mordekaiser gets to go like Liandry Sterix and he's just Thanos now because he has so much HP, has so much tenacity, and then he has the shield that you have to get through? Yeah, I think that's a real possibility. And also because of the Sterix, it's going to allow you to probably get 2 Ws off inside of a fight just because of the shield. Now, that does make like Shield Reaver a little bit better against him, but still. Morgana. Now, Mordekaiser also very, very good in the jungle. Does take a little bit of time getting used to learning how to do all the jungle camps and kiting and everything else. But if anyone has been watching Inspired in solo queue, they know that he has been playing that a lot. Would not be surprised to eventually see Mordekaiser somewhere pop up in competitive at some point. Morgana, W Tormented Shadow, min damage is going to be from 60 to 280 plus 85% AP to 70 to 350 plus 100% AP. Max damage 162 to 756 plus 229 to 140 to 700 plus 200. So if you're in the entire duration of the W, she's dealing less. But in terms of poke, it's doing more. Which is really weird because it's almost like you're punished for hitting Q. But this makes her poking better ever so slightly. Like it's such a minor amount. Now, obviously for jungle, the other thing about this is that typically you kite the camps, so they're not actually staying in the entire duration of the W, so just being able to kill them up front faster is better. Nautilus, E-Riptide, first hit deals 125 to 285 plus 50% AP bonus damage to monsters. This is actually crazy for Nautilus jungle. This is ridiculous. So the really big strength of this in competitive is that now Nautilus is going to be able to be early picked and rotated either top or jungle or support, depending on what kind of a monstrous counter you can maybe end up getting, because he's just a neutralizer jungler. That's really what he is. He's going to be able to clear relatively fast, and he's just going to be able to be Nautilus, and that is such insane value. The plus 50% bonus AP bonus as well means that he can do really funny AP builds probably inside of the jungle, or he can do like hybrid type builds where I don't necessarily know. He might end up just actually going Liandry's because he doesn't really need that much ability haste to do anything. So Nautilus with Liandry is going to be really funny because then he's going to get max % health damage. And then obviously he can also go Bloodletter's Curse, and then he gets a little bit of a little bit of ability haste. He gets the Riptide thing will end up shredding, and Titan's Wrath also, because it's a damage over time after the upfront damage is dealt. He's able to stack that very quickly, and that's going to let Nautilus nuke you while also being really safe, and this is a very reliable way for him to accumulate items inside of the jungle. Before, one of Nautilus jungle's main problems is that it would start to slow down dramatically because Bommies and Bramble or whatnot would not be able to continuously keep up with the clears, typically around fourth through like 6th camp resets and respawns. But now with the AP stuff, yes, Nautilus jungle is absolutely going to be it's going to be a top tier jungle pick. Nocturne base stat, base armor growth going down by 0.5, doesn't matter. Q Duskbringer bonus AD is also going down by a negligible amount, doesn't matter. Qiyana Xtal base damage is going up. W Terror Shape bonus attack speed is also going up by a flat 10%, which is really gross. So nice little buffs for Qiyana. She definitely doesn't need them right now. But the problem is that for Qiyana, and much like a lot of other assassins and whatnot, typically, unless they're able to be built in a way that allows them to play bruisery and allows them to play utility-based, which Qiyana does have quite a bit of utility, especially with her ultimate, they're not typically able to be really that viable unless superstars align. Like, Zed is able to circumvent a lot of the problems right now that's existing because Zed can operate inside of the jungle. He has his clear speed, and then, yes, he has his ability, because he is the jungler, to have other teammates, you know, be there and whatnot, and you can make use of what Zed is offering to you, but even Zed does start to fall off. Rek'Sai, base AD is going to go up by 4. Queen's Wrath and Tunnel has been bug fixed, so a little bit nice for Rek'Sai. Rell, Crash Down, Shield, 13% max HP to 11% max HP. This is something that they've done before, not the end of the world. Rumble, Red Side Bug Fix, Dot Retune, Equalizer, Tick Rate. Q Flame Splitter AP ratio going down by a flat 10%. Burn HP percent is lowered. And then our Equalizer Tick is going to be increased. So the increase is actually interesting. So now if you're on top of it, it will kill you. It'll check to kill you faster. And then also if you were to have stepped off it, it might dot refresh, and thus Leandres ends up getting an additional tick. If Leandres gets the additional tick as you're attempting to walk off it, it's almost like the Flame Splitter AP ratio maybe doesn't even matter that much, but it is definitely Rumble nerfs for sure, who is still one of the best champions in the game. Shaco, AD is being hit, but you shouldn't be playing AD. You should just be playing AP Shaco. It's the best variant of him, both for jungle and support. It's just, I mean, it scales infinitely better. It has much more control. It's very obnoxious, very difficult for people that are not used to playing against it, and also very good in solo queue where people are uncoordinated. Poison Trail refresh rate also going down by 0.25. So again, another buff, because again, it ticks faster, which means it kills you faster, which means that HP regen also doesn't necessarily come in. There's a lot of things with this, and then again with like Leandres and whatnot, there's synergy there. Red Side damage delay bug is fixed. Interesting. I did not know that Singed also had the problem too. Sion, passive health loss per tick low. I wonder if Malzahar had this. The delay on everything. Interesting. Okay. Sion, passive health loss per tick lowered. E-armor shred 20 to 25%. That's very big. Our bonus AD ratio is going to massively go up. Overlords. Oh my god, Overlord's Warmail is going to be crazy now. Oh my lord. At least on his R. The armor shred also going up. Very good news for the boss. Passive monster damage on Sylas is going to go up by 50%. Sylas still very gimmicky inside of the jungle. Not really a thing. Trumdle bonus W attack speed is going to go from 30 to 110% to 30 to 90%. W cooldown 16 to 18. None of this really matters. None of this matters at all. None of this matters at all. The Trundle support even is actually highly viable. If anyone listened to me, Trimby, and Busio break that stuff down on Twitter, no one seems to have realized that when Trundle's support was last a menace in competitive, Trundle is actually, he has lower cooldowns and everything about him is better than when he existed then, and yet no one's playing it right now, which is very confusing. Varus, Q base damage nerf, W on hit buff, E damage nerf, Blight R spread correctly applies stack. So, Paladin Varus has been hit. Top lane and mid lane on hit Varus, or like tank pseudo Varus, etc., has also been dramatically buffed with the W on hit buff, and then obviously AP Varus has been buffed. So attack speed Varus is still going to be good. So now Varus, he does still have his 3 options. It's not like he can't go lethality. It's just he's not going to essentially be 3 champions now, potentially in 1. Viego, attack speed growth is going down. Q damage buffs versus champions minions, nerfs versus monsters. So he's going to have a little bit less sustain inside of the jungle, and that doesn't really matter because everyone has so much sustain inside of the jungle, but mid lane, top lane, Viego gets buffed. Warwick, base AD is going to go up by 5, passive on hit early, damage lowered. I saw some people tweet that this ended up being a nerf, but it's not actually a nerf. In most cases, I don't think that it's actually a nerf because of the way that it works, but I guess I could see the math, and maybe I'm wrong on this. Xin Zhao, HP going down by a flat 20 Q. Bonus damage per hit is 20 to 80 to 15 to 75, so just losing a flat 5 on that. Doesn't really matter. Again, not the end of the world. This is less than half an auto attack, especially early game. Yuumi, Q empowered damage is reduced. W heal shield power nerf, and on hit healing nerfed as well. So Yuumi, one of the hidden menaces that still does exist. Again, she's not really being picked in competitive. She's not, I think like in the lane swap meta as well, people aren't figuring out exactly how to best utilize her in a situation like that. And they think that maybe there's not enough justification to have her in spots like that. But Yuumi definitely has been really strong, and these nerfs do definitely hurt her. Zyra, ECD is going to go down by a flat 1 second. Our base damage up by a negligible amount. Doesn't matter. Doesn't do anything for her inside of the jungle. Items, experimental Hexplate. Overdrive attack speed is going to go up by 20%. Overdrive movement speed going to go up by 5%. So this item's really fake. Pretty much Nocturne buys it, and when he does, we make fun of him. There's a couple of other champions historically that did end up building it, but for the most part, I mean, if you're building this item, it's like really fake. Now, remember, Nocturne just got nerfed up above, so even though he gets the indirect buff with this item, sort of balancing out, and it doesn't really matter. Yeah, it's just not good. Now, I do wonder how, like, maybe there's something funny about this with, like, attack speed AD Mordekaiser, where he goes, like, AD something, where he goes experimental Hexplate, like, Blade of the Ruin King, Guinsus or something like that, and he takes you into the Death Realm and just autos you to death. He doesn't even have to hit you. Maybe there's something there where you just, like, can't resist. Because he just kills you so quickly. I mean, maybe that's a possibility. Like, attack speed Mordekaiser used to actually be a thing in Season 10. There was actually a top laner, I think his name was Dragoon. He played it on NA Solo Queue and Challenger. The attack speed on-hit variant of Mordekaiser, where you just death realm someone and auto-attack them to death. It's obviously a little bit more glass cannon, but it comes online faster, and it has infinitely stronger early dueling potential than traditional Mordekaiser. Baron Nashor, so here's the thing. Riot buffed Baron by 100 base health last patch, and now they're buffing it by 300 more, so 400 total health. But what they did is they removed the HP regen that it used to have, but because Baron would typically take 22 to like 31 seconds, depending on team composition, to consume the Baron, enough HP regen would end up coming through to where now Baron is basically just where Baron used to be, except there's not the whatchamacallit, the increase in health, which can cause you to miss a smite. Arena, ARAM, and upcoming skins: Bowling League Lilia, Victorious Fiora, Brick Toy Corki, and then obviously the chromas and stuff. Not super cool. But in terms of the patch, honestly, there's some stuff in it that I think is good. I think Illaoi change, really good. I think the Mordekaiser change, very good. Nautilus instantly affects both solo queue and competitive. And outside of that, I mean, Rumble definitely does hit competitive a little bit. Trumdle doesn't really matter. Viego doesn't really matter. Xin Zhao doesn't matter. Yuumi doesn't really matter. Zyra doesn't matter. Experimental Hexplate is an experimental failure at the end of the day. And that is pretty much it, honestly. So for the patch that was supposed to be a lot better, it ended up being kind of lackluster, which is a little bit sad. I wish genuinely that we did get more changes for competitive, but it is what it is. Hopefully with the Mordekaiser and Nautilus changes, even I guess Morgana in the jungle, probably not, even though she is a really niche counter pick. That is something that could happen, but basically none of the competitive champions are being hit enough to dissuade pros from continuing to pick them. So that is it, guys. And remember, like and subscribe here at the FlyQuest LoL YouTube channel. I will see you guys in the next one.